call this meeting to order. I apologize for the delay. But we can start doing our business here. Hopefully we can cruise through this fairly quickly. Public participation, I don't know if anybody has anything that they want to sort of bring up that's not on the agenda. Usually, I tap Sandy to find out what's going on with the town. Josh or Jill, I don't know if you can help if there's anything new and interesting since the last time we met.
I'm happy to. Jill, and please chime in as you feel I'm missing information. Definitely, in terms of COVID-19, we're seeing very stable numbers. We're maintaining 21 cases, and that's cumulative over time. And we haven't seen a new case in, I believe, over 2 weeks now. So Town Hall has begun a partial reopening, and I can answer specific questions if anybody has those. From a financial point of view, we are working diligently to make sure that we're qualified for the Fema reimbursements. So for those of you who don't know, Fema is going to be reimbursing 75% of qualified purchases that were made during the span of, and continuing on, given that there is still a declared state of emergency, of purchases during this state. And the state of Connecticut will be making up the other 25%. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. Obviously, there needs to be a substantial amount of backup in order to make sure that our claims are credible and everybody else's are. But we have a small team working on that. I know that we need to have a meeting, Jill, in the very near future. But unfortunately, we've had a couple folks who have been out of the office ill with non-COVID related issues that have held us up just a couple days.
Quick question on that, Josh.
Yeah.
Does that cover not only town acceptable expenses, but also school acceptable expenses? Like all the
I was going to ask that. That's so complicated, Emily.
Sorry.
It's complicated. The money's not all coming from one place, but generally speaking, there are reimbursable aspects of the school expenditures, yes.
Okay. Because I know in terms of cleaning supplies and protection equipment and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The school's been making, just as many, if not more, purchases than we have. So it's important that we get that money too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And then beyond that, today we made the decision parks and playscapes will be reopening within the next week. So, don't spread that info too far, and they're not quite open yet, but be looking for that announcement and hopefully enjoy safely as you can. If there are any other COVID-related questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that's a brief
I have a COVID-related question. So is there any type of estimate as far as when the FEMA money would get processed and those monies would actually get dispersed? I mean, do we really see that happening before the end of the year?
We don't.
Okay.
And by that, I certainly mean the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
In terms of by the end of the calendar year, that's really up in the air. I don't think that anybody knows what that timeline is going to look like.
Okay. But the fiscal year, it's
absolutely
totally definite. Okay.
Actually, the first report to FEMA isn't due until a month after the end of the fiscal year. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Josh. Hi, Sandy.
Hi. Sorry I was late. I got stuck in traffic in New Haven.
Quite all right. Josh just gave us sort of a what's going on with COVID and town stuff. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to toss in there. He talked about town hall reopening and parks and playscapes at some point and FEMA reimbursements.
Yep.
That's about all that's happening these days.
Okay.
We're still not sure about Indian Notch. That'll be decided at the July Selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
Sandy, real quick, what about the library? Is that expected to be open, I take it later in the summer? What is that? Would that be phase 3?
Actually, I'm thinking libraries can open after June 15th. So Josh is currently working with the library staff to work that out, but I'm thinking it'll probably be in the next week or two. We just have some protocols to work out.
Okay, great.
But in the meantime, you can access their card catalog and do a pickup and drop off if you have a desire or a need to visit the library.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You can do that online, by telephone, or whatever's more convenient for you.
And they also are delivering some materials to seniors, if you know any who are in need right now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I know I chatted with Diane last week, and she said that, the whole process is, while odd, is going very well, where they go out, plunk it in a basket, go back in, call and say it's ready. But it is working well. I don't know, Charlie, if you hear anything different from her, but.
Well, my experience there has been very positive, so.
Yeah, they've been very active, that's for sure, in the limited basis that they have, and as importantly, the employees, the town employees, are feeling pretty safe and secure right now, even though they're not actually having face-to-face visitations with their customers, as they refer to them, I guess.
Readers.
Anything else? Otherwise, we will move on. Okay. Approval of the minutes. I will be honest. I did not get a chance to read them prior. I know that, we had gone through a whole bunch of meeting minutes, so I'm assuming Linda, was able to capture everything that we changed and edit there. Thank you, Linda, for doing that.
You're welcome.
Now, do the original minutes get updated, or is this just a reflection of the changes we made?
The minutes that were submitted to the town clerk are the only minutes for that meeting. So,
Okay. So if you want to see changes, you have to come to this one.
yeah, all the changes are made at future meetings.
Okay. Just going into our, I guess it's page 4 at the top under town update. Little thing, Jay Kelly reported he highlights departments.
All right.
I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything on the minutes?
No, I just went through them again. This is Ross, and no change to what's there.
Okay. And the mill rate that we have in here is correct, 38.86. I don't have all my notes in front of me, so that sounds right.
That's what I have.
Yeah, okay. If there's no other changes, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Charlie. All those in favor, I will go down, just say yay or nay or abstain. Kristen,
Yay.
Charlie,
Yay.
Ross,
Yay.
Bob DiPietro. Bob, are you muted? And I say yay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 yays. Don't know about Bob because I can't hear. Okay. Do you approve the minutes, yay or nay? Well, given that we have a majority that the minutes are approved.
No.
What? Okay, I'm going to move on to item number 4, elected official and town staff reports.
No, they're wrong.
Tax collection summary.
I apologize. This is just out of order from the way that it appears on the agenda. So if you don't mind giving me just a minute to scroll through.
It's okay. Just get a little seasick watching it fly by.
Yeah, I should pause it before I start doing that. Okay. Jill, I don't know if you want to speak to collections and I can speak to expenditures or.
Sure. Our current levy is at 100.13% of the revised number. Motor vehicle is at 101.20% of our revised number, as opposed to last year was 100.31%. But it's a revised number, so it's
Right.
yeah. Supplemental motor vehicle is at 102.09%, as opposed to last year, 101.66%. The prior year is at 111%, 111.12%, and interest and fees are at 109.69%, for a total of 100.36%.
Now we have 1 more month's worth of collection, correct?
Correct.
So it may go up just a little bit more, but I mean,
It generally starts to slow down now,
yeah.
but anything's good.
So considering when we revised our estimates on everything, we revised up in most cases. I think motor vehicle was the only one that we didn't. And so, and we're still beating the 100, beating these by 100, over 100% on our revised, which are higher numbers. So
Right.
That's a good thing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jill?
Jill, you're not seeing any holdup then as far as anybody having problems paying their taxes and everything on time at this point?
Well, these are all past due now that were just collected.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
That's true.
So, but
August, I guess.
yeah, but now remember, the selectmen have voted on giving everybody a 90-day window to pay for the upcoming year.
Right.
So we'll see what happens at the end of that 90 days.
Yeah. Do we expect tax bills to go out on time? Any reason why they wouldn't?
I don't believe
Should be
there
going
is.
out on time. I know that the tax collector's been working very diligently to make that happen.
Okay. I apologize. My printer just started to print. Okay. Then let's move on to what's our next report?
All of the revenues.
Yeah, we have a little more on revenue. in case anyone wants to.
Right. Most of the areas that we kind of talked about have slowed down, but not all of them, but the obvious, like donations for the seniors and the library fees, those kind of things, NCAAA, because the chore workers aren't going out and working anymore. So that's part of that grant that we get from NCAA. So some of them have definitely slowed down like we expected, but we're still waiting for the other part of the Coventry Share Service. We did get the rest of the tuition. I believe it came in yesterday. So that, and it doesn't show up on this report. But it was pretty much what we expected. The areas that we expected that were going to slow down did.
Okay. I mean, if you look at our bottom line, from what we revised for last fiscal year, we are, we're good. So we're not going to end the year in the hole or anything.
Well, you're looking at the $3,050 number, but that, and we will be fine because we still have another month, but that includes fees that are part of what goes to the state for the building and land use. That still has to come out of there and go to the state. So we'll be okay.
Okay. Any questions for Jill on the revenues for this fiscal year? Okay, then let's move on to the next thing, which is...
So it's expenditures, and on your screen you'll see a sheet much like I usually show you, and you'll note that there are currently no yellow lines across to draw your attention to any particular item. And as you'll remember, there are two reasons why I sometimes draw a yellow line to draw some attention to a particular area. The first, that given line is currently overexpending as compared to prior years, the prior 3 years, or B, it's overexpended as compared to the percentage of the way through the year that we are. In this case, we're 11/12 of the way through the year, being at the end of May, which means that there shouldn't be a line that's over 91.67%. So you'll see that it is true that there are a couple that are over that line, but overall, there are none that meet both of those criteria, and therefore there are none that meet my criteria for being an area of concern at this point in time. So this is the first budget this is the first expenditure report I've been able to show you that that I can claim that about. So I'm very excited. It looks like coming the end of this year quite nicely, especially given everything that we've had to deal with these past several months.
Is there anything, I mean, I know that with COVID and closures and everything, we've spent money a little differently, and I know there's some transfers going on, but Sandy or Josh, do you see anything in the next month that could throw a wrinkle in this with the reopenings or anything that you've heard of?
I personally don't think so, Emily.
Okay.
There's nothing on my radar at this point in time that's going to be a large expenditure that we haven't already, haven't already adjusted for and really considered.
And I would agree with that. I don't foresee anything in the next 3 weeks that would change our projections at all. And if anything, it'll be slightly more favorable.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
And the last item that we have to tell you about here is the FY20 budget transfers from the last time that you all met to this meeting. you can see in front of you that there certainly were several, some of them significant. Overall, there have been more budget transfers since then, but all for projects that we're trying to get closed before the end of the year or to make up for a couple of COVID-related overages and underages. Overall, it's like we just said, really nothing that's unexpected at this point. Everything's been very well meticulously accounted for. Any other questions that I can answer for you?
Just the first one, the building and grounds. I'm just digging on you there. Building improvement from regular payroll. What is that? Does that have to do with the renting of the our things in the parking lot over by Notch Road, or is that?
It does not. And unfortunately, I don't have the rationale for each of these right in front of me, but if you give me just a minute, I can pull that up.
Josh, was that the lock system?
That's right. So we're going to be installing, I believe next week, a town hall security system. And that's going to allow us to buzz in individuals from each individual administrative assistant will have the capability to look outside, to be able to use an intercom to interface with members of the public. And all of this is an effort, of course, to limit interaction, a face-to-face interaction where it's not strictly necessary. There are upgrades and improvements that we were discussing actually before COVID came to pass. So we feel that expenditure is a bit overdue, and certainly it falls within our budget constraints.
Okay.
Any other rationales that I can speak to? If you have questions later on, I do list a brief explanation for each budget request. If you go back into the packet for the Board of Selectmen meetings, and I should try and provide this for you too at future meetings, so that you can really see for yourself and dive into it as much as you want. But you can still find that information online.
Okay. Sorry, I just needed to tell my daughter something. Anything else with budget transfers? Any questions? Okay, then moving on. I'm just, what is next? Anything else on the town documents?
No, that's it from us for the town report.
Okay, then I guess Board of Ed update. If we look at the fiscal year 2020 report, it looks like that they are sort of on, they have an expenditure projection decrease of about $10,000 from last month's. I'm just looking through the changes from there. So it looks like they're going to have some legal savings from special education. I know that was something that Kristen was worried about with the current environment, special ed. So that's positive. I apologize, I did not get a chance to talk to Superintendent Hecht before this meeting. So if anybody does have any particular questions, I can circle back with her and get those questions answered. Does anybody have any particular questions that they would like me to take to her or Andrew Brunel? I just, on a personal note, I want to make sure that everybody's aware of all the efforts that Joe Maselli, the high school principal, as well as Kristen Heck, superintendent, in putting together the virtual graduation for our seniors. They did above and beyond trying to make it a special occasion. So graduation happened on Monday, and it was quite an event. And if you were in the middle of town, you probably heard the hundreds of cars drive by in the parade going off to Mansfield's Drive-In for the actual ceremony. So it was a very special event. So if they were here, I would thank them, but I'm just letting you know that they did an amazing job with that. Anything else from a Board of Ed perspective?
Emily, our next meeting is going to be in August, correct?
September.
September. Okay. So if we have any questions, I guess, from between here and there, because there's going to be, I mean, that's like in COVID time, that's a lifetime. So do we just forward that to you, or should we just contact Kristen Heck directly? Do we have a?
I would, if you could funnel it through me, that way it's, just single point of contact, because I know she's still up to her ears and trying to figure out, now that school is done, trying to figure out the fall and anything that needs to be planned there. So if you do have questions or things that come up, funnel them through me. I will get the answers for you, and we can, get them back out to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You can see the transfers, BOE transfers from May. I don't think there's anything that jumps out at me. I know she's touched on several of those. Okay, and then the Chromebooks are the large purchase to get the new Chromebooks for students and teachers for this. Okay. Then I would say let's move on to new business if there's nothing else with Board of Ed. Okay. At this point in time, especially for the new people, now that we have the budget has passed, what the town and the Board of Education does is Board of Selectmen takes a look at what cuts were made and determines where they're going to take that out of their budget. Similarly, the Board of Education takes a look at the cuts and decides where that's going to come out of their budgets. So from a town perspective, there was a $25,000 cut to their budget that they proposed to us, and it looks like it's going to come out of capital improvements, $10,000 out of the Bolton Center School window replacement, and $15,000 out of the Firehouse storage garage, and that gives us the total of the $25,000. I have a quick question on the Bolton Center School window replacement. Did the estimate for that come in lower, or how is that happening? Or are we deferring a portion of it for another year?
My understanding is that this is for a select number of windows, and that the quote for the number of windows that are slated to be replaced in the next couple of weeks did come in below that $10,000.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. And remind me, the Firehouse storage garage.
So the Firehouse storage garage, this is obviously a request from the fire department. They have quite a bit of material inside that's currently being stored, and it's taking up space that could otherwise be used for other equipment and just general ability to mobility, I guess, around the firehouse. So as a means of freeing up some of that space and making sure that all of their equipment is as protected as possible, they've asked for a small storage garage to be constructed outside. It's really more of a shed, might have been a better word for it, somewhere between the two. And that has been approved. I know that to some degree it was reviewed and approved also by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And the numbers come in below. It actually, the total project budget was $15,720. But given that that the amount cut was $25,000, we have left $720 in the budget for this project for the next fiscal year.
Okay, so that one's not happening this fiscal year. It'll get pushed to next year is what it's sounding like, right?
Oh, no. It will happen this year. Yes.
Okay. That's a big, I mean, if it's,
Emily, we anticipate that it will happen in the fiscal year that ends June 30th, 2020. We were able to find some funds to push that forward rather than back.
Right.
oh, okay.
Which is why it's being reduced from the FY 2021 budget.
Okay. Well, that works out well then. Okay, and then on the Board of Education, any other questions, sorry, for the reductions from the Board of Selectmen and the town's budgets?
I just wanted to comment, if I could,
Yes.
that I had understood that those two line items in capital improvements for the town had been moved forward into this fiscal year. And that was what part of our allowance for the next budget to get to the reduced amount. And it's just something that worked out really well for the town as part of our budget process. And I thought that some of that items that we've been talking about with the Board of Education were along the same lines. I just wanted to reiterate that what Josh was saying just a moment ago, that it's not that we're moving it, we're canceling it or we're changing it. It's just that with a reduced cost and being able to move it into the current fiscal year rather than next year, that's what's allowed us to balance those two budgets basically. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Charlie, for clarifying that. I'd forgotten parts of that conversation. So, but you are correct. I mean, it's great that we're able to do them in this fiscal year for the shed and other things. Okay, on the Board of Education side, there was a $30,000 cut in their budget, and it looks like it's going to be taking out of benefits. I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming that hiring has happened for some of the open positions, and I'm going to guess that she has someone that is taking reduced benefits than what she had budgeted for.
Emily?
Yes.
It's Joe. They actually didn't give this to me. I got this out of their minutes, and their minutes said that it was because we had a slight reduction in our increase for medical. It went from 19.5% to 19%. And that was the reason why they had this $30,000.
Oh, okay. So from the Board of Education minutes, so is that true across the board that we're not at 19.5% for benefits, but at a 19%?
For medical.
For medical?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So then if that holds for all of next fiscal year, or is that just sort of
No, it's all our benefits for next fiscal year. It went from 19.5% that they projected to 19%. Is what it came in at.
Okay. So chances are that on the town side, you may also see some savings there if you look into that, correct?
Yes.
Good. That'll help us out for the fiscal year after this upcoming one.
As long as we don't have any unexpected people coming on, and that
Yeah,
happens, it could happen
Yeah,
anytime.
that's what I was going to say. That would be assuming that you don't change your staffing level at this point.
Correct.
if everything were to stay the same, which as we have known, doesn't happen. So. Any other, thank you, Jill, for pulling that out of the Board of Ed minutes.
You're welcome.
'Cause that's useful. Anything else on having to do with our reductions to the budgets? Any other questions that anybody has that you would like me to follow up with anybody? Bob DiPietro, did you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Ross, Charlie,
Not at
Kristen?
the,
Okay. Well, if anybody does have anything if they're going through the reports, like I said, feel free to forward it to me. I can reach out to Sandy and Josh on the town side, or Kristen and Andrew on the Board of Ed side, and we can get things answered.
I do have a thought. Emily,
Yes.
I didn't receive any of these printouts, these from the town side or that summary sheet from the Board of Education ahead of time. So this is relatively new information for me to be looking over. And I was able to go to the town website and pick up some of it there. But I would have thought that, I imagine with everything going crazy like it has been, I would have expected that I should have received it at least the day ahead of this meeting. And I just like to make sure that it's not overlooked next time. So I have a chance to read this stuff through. So.
Well, I will apologize for that. I do know that Jill sent out things yesterday. And it may be that it only went to your town
That's
email.
the answer. I've never been able to be successful logging into the town website, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie, go to your town email. I'm looking at it now. Let's work on making sure that you can access that, or that we just set it up to automatically forward, or whatever's going to work best for you.
Okay.
So that it's a foolproof way to make sure this doesn't happen again.
I will talk to you later on that then.
Sorry, Charlie.
No problem.
So,
Not funny, Bob.
No.
yeah, I mean, usually Jill sends it to both home and town. But we'll make sure that doesn't happen again. So sorry about that, Charlie.
It's okay. Thank you all.
Is there anything else that anybody has to bring up? Otherwise, I will move on to item number 6 on our agenda, which is this meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Have a great summer, everybody. We will see you on September 17th. Is our next meeting. Stay tuned, whether it will be in person or Zoom. I mean, until further notice, it's Zoom, but things may change by September. We'll see.
Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there.
thank
Yes,
you.
happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
And enjoy the summer and be safe.
Yes, everybody stay safe
Everyone
and
be
healthy,
safe.
please.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Have a great summer, everyone.
Have a great summer. Thanks.